Hello everyone, this is Ingmar, the one guy who saw Helvetica and Times New Roman enter into a bar and said, "Get out of here! We don't serve your type!" Welcome, this is a new project of mine named Noice, in which I'm going to give reviews to 5 albums and EPs from different new or underrated Indonesian artists with the purpose of promoting new or underrated Indonesian music to Indonesian youths. And I'm going to release 2 videos a week, every Wednesdays and Fridays, which probably can be changed now. So if you want, subscribe and turn on the bell icon so that you can be notified of my next video. Without further ado, let's head into the review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Bloodbuzz by Denisa. Denisa is a singer-songwriter hailing from Jakarta who debuted in 2019 with her single Grey Score, but actually started writing music from 2018. This album was published and distributed by The Majors, a popular music label in Indonesia. Released on October 16th, 2021, it is her first official album with 9 tracks with a runtime of 34 minutes and 27 seconds. As the first album in my list of reviews to feature multiple producers, this album features production from Denisa herself, Indonesian alternative producer Rayhan Noor, and musician Johannes Abioso. However, noted contributions also include singer and producer Hindia or Baskara Putra. Continuing on, this album can be described as an indie alternative pop record which reflects the moods of heartbreak and breaking free from the restraints of a relationship, something that I noticed while listening to the instrumental and while skimming through the lyrics for the first time. When I first listened to the album, those moods were what I captured instantly. I thought that it was a great mix of pop and emotional songs which have different stylistic features with the rhythm and melody. As one of the more professionally produced records in this list, I was impressed with the variety that was put into this project. The overall vibe of this project is very low-key, especially considering the live singing type mixing and also the themes and the genres that the producers and the songwriters put into this record. It feels like the type of album you would listen to while staring up in your bed or while taking an afternoon stroll around Jakarta or even around the Tangerang area. Coinciding with what I said before, this album has a mix of fast-paced pop, rock, and disco influenced songs along with some emotional retrospective type ballad songs, which I would say makes it more personal as a form of art, with a hint of pop value into it. The first track, Ben, is an 80s style pop song with alternative rock and disco grooves accompanied by electronic drums and guitars, steady bass rhythms, and staggered electric piano playing. It is about the perspective of one girl and a boy named Ben, and how they two are in a bad part of their relationship, sort of giving up on the relationship with it. The second track, You Are Not My Savior, is a Brit rock type song with experimental and electronic influences featuring smooth indie style drums, clean and unprocessed synth arps along with mixed and processed synth arps, electric guitar, bass, and complex vocal arrangements. The song comes from the perspective of a person who, after going through a breakup, doesn't care anymore, and how the you character that the person mentions in this song, presumably the ex, is at fault. In a sense, it is the lonely people's anthem. The third track, Get It Together, is a country-influenced alternative rock song with smooth electric guitars, acoustic guitars, electric pianos, bass, and vocal sound effects. The song talks about the rigorous process of 2 people or 2 exes trying to get over their relationship and trying to get back their relationship. However, after accepting the fact that they cannot get back together, the song ends with a guitar solo and a complex choir arrangement which sings, I hold back harder, I get it together, we'll never see each other. The fourth track, What Happens Next, is a chill acoustic city pop type song accompanied by electric piano, electric guitars, and bass. The song talks about the feelings of a person knowing that their ex has gone over the breakup and asking what happens next, referring to how that person is going to move on as well. The song then ends with a heavy choir arrangement. The fifth track, Honey, is an experimental ballad song with low octave pianos, smooth drums, weird percussion, various instances of string arrangement, accompanied by a very natural one-take type of vocal mixing which asks the ex or the significant other, referred to as Honey, were you trying to avoid me this whole time? The sixth track, Runway, is an acoustic guitar ballad with country-like chords which talks about running away from a relationship and its intricacies, yet also adding several lyrics about how we see our partners or how they see their partners as a runaway from everything. This song is a duet featuring Rayhan Noor, a male vocalist, which in a sense adds a second perspective to the overall story of the song. They both have a good chemistry and they were able to sing without their voices clashing against each other. The 7th track, J Street, is a funk and disco inspired song characterized by its funky guitar rhythms, groovy drums, electric pianos, and bass. The song talks about living free while also being restricted while trying to avoid an ex or a former lover. Spoiler alert, this is my favorite song on the EP. The 8th track, Driver's Seat, is another guitar ballad with various instances of string arrangement. The song comes from the perspective of a person and their feelings while being driven by someone else or being in the passenger seat of a car, and it being a metaphor for a toxic relationship where the SO has took control over the person and how the significant other uses the person for their own satisfaction or pleasure. And finally, the 9th track, Uncomfortably Alone, is an alternative rock song with acoustic and electric guitar, simple bass, tense cinematic drums, pianos with epic chords, complex choir arrangements, and strong vocal performances from Denisa herself. The song talks about moving on, presumably from a relationship, referring to their past memories and experiences. This is by far the most complex song on this record, especially with her lyricism, which is quite vague and ambiguous, at least in my eyes, which is why I had to listen to this song and look through the lyrics various times to understand and make a final conclusion. The song ends with a filtered acoustic guitar and a vocal take accompanied with the soothing sounds of rain. The album was mixed in quite a unique way, as I said before. From listening to it on several sound systems, the album was mixed in a way where it kind of sounds like one of those recorded live performances, like those Artist Tool and 2015 Royal Hall Live Edition type of albums. And with the natural and clean way the vocals were processed, I found it quite interesting for a record like this. Still, I'm impressed with this album. For such a variety of stylistic features and genres that are explored in this album, every song seemed to fit so well with each other, mainly because of the consistent and overall themes and moods which I mentioned earlier in the video. While the lyricism and the way it accompanies the melodies can be quite vague and ambiguous, at least in my eyes as a normal listener, Denisa was still able to create such a pop-feeling listening experience which left me amazed. Noting her previous singles and projects, I sort of found a shift in direction in her as an artist. Whereas before she was more electronic and experimental, but now she goes for more acoustic genres and is more rock influenced. However, I still found some traits from her previous singles being implemented into the songs on this record. I found influences from artists such as Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo, and I also found influences from bands or artists such as Radiohead or Björk, who are more alternative and more experimental. This album kind of feels like they all gotten together and made created a collaboration. With that being said, I think some improvements can still be made on the overall lyricism and how they describe or visualize certain memories, experiences, or certain concepts which could relate to the stories presented in this album. I also think that the production can be a little more complex and a bit more spread out so that it can accompany the lyrics better as a whole. Overall,
I recommend.
Transition. See what I did there for the third freaking time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you want, subscribe and turn on the bell icon so that you can be notified of my next video. You can listen to this album on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, and almost all major streaming platforms using the links that I've provided in the description below. You can also listen to her previous singles through her artist profiles. As always, again, this has been Ingmar, and see you in the next video. Salute.